Hey everyone, and welcome back to Sgcarmart Reviews. So today we are driving the Audi A3 sedan, and you might be thinking, this car isn't new. And you're actually right. So the 4th gen A3 was actually launched more than a year ago, and we've driven both the Sportback and the sedan models. This one though, it's a little bit different. So under the bonnet here on this car, we have a 1-litre engine, and that means that this is a Cat A car. So let's go take a closer look. So before we start today, did you know that you could be losing up to $5,000 in value when you trade in your car? So if you're looking to buy something like this Audi A3, then you might want to consider selling your current car with Quotz. Quotz uses its network of dealers to get you the best price possible. In fact, they're so confident on getting you the best price, if you sell your car for a higher price, they'll give you $100. Don't just take our word for it, look at the hundreds of raving reviews on the website. To find out more, visit quotz.com.sg. That's QUOTZ.com.sg. Now, back to the review.
The Audi A3 sedan is priced at $203,148.
The 1-litre 3-cylinder turbocharged engine produces 109 brake horsepower and 200 Nm of torque. The 7-speed S-tronic transmission brings the car from 0 to 100 km/h in 10.6 seconds. For more details on the Audi A3 sedan or any other car, head on to sgcarmart.com to help you make the smart choice on your next car. First of all, from a design perspective, you can't really set this particular model apart from the 1.5 variant, and that's because you have very familiar elements, right? You have your recognizable Audi grille, these are full LED headlights, and if we move on down here, we have a slightly different rim design, and this one comes standard as 17, although there is still an 18-inch rim option. As for the rest of the car, it's a very familiar A3 sedan silhouette. Now, if we go to the back, at the rear we have LED taillights as standard. And if you look closely, there's nothing to actually identify this as the base 1-litre model, right? You really just only have an A3 badging, and that's all. So if you look at this car, you couldn't really tell which model variant it is. Now, as far as boot space, we have a 425-litre boot, and it's a sizable enough boot for a compact class car. It will pass the anti-trolley test with a little effort, and obviously it will handily swallow up the big luggage as well. Now let's go check out the inside of the car. Now here in the rear of the A3 sedan, space-wise, it's kind of what you expect from a car in the compact class, right? So I have an okay amount of legroom and headroom, and it's not cramped in any way. It's not super spacious, but you don't necessarily feel cramped. So I think for a normal size Asian adult, I think it's pretty comfortable. Now, if I slide onto the middle seat, it will fit an adult, but I must say that because of the way the seat slightly humps up here, it's perhaps not the most comfortable, and because there is a transmission tunnel here, you're not going to be able to put your feet in the middle, so you're going to have to put it on either side. So, better for kids, but okay for an adult. Now, as far as amenities are concerned, we have rear aircon vents. We don't have dedicated controls though, and we have 2 USB-C ports. And of course, we also have ISOFIX points. And if you need, there are 2 cup holders here as well. Now let's go check out the front. Now here in the front of the A3, it is a very familiar and recognizable Audi space, and I think one thing that I especially like about this car is the fact that you cannot really tell that this is supposed to be the base model. So you get all the same amenities as you would find on the 1.5 model, and even in more expensive higher tier models from Audi as well. So we have the virtual cockpit, we have the same MMI system, the same control layout here, with buttons for your aircon, even the same center console now, right? And with your rotating volume button whatsoever. So what's actually missing then? Well, a couple of things, right? So firstly, these are electric seats. They are electrically adjustable, however, you do not get memory function. Also, as standard, this car does not come with inbuilt navigation. However, you do have wireless Apple CarPlay as standard, so you can simply just use that and use Google Maps or Waze or whichever app you prefer, right? And the only other thing that this one is missing as standard is the Audi Pre-Sense, so that is a cost option as well. But beyond that, it's the same, right? It's the same as the 1.5, and if you don't look too closely, you wouldn't actually be able to tell the difference. As far as materials go, Yes, there are quite a lot of plastics around, but I must say it doesn't feel cheap in any way. I mean, I think partially it's because it is decked out in this grayscale look, so I think it still looks quite premium and refined. And I think that's the appeal of this car, right? The equipment levels are very high, and sitting here you don't feel like you're driving a base model. Now let's go drive this car. Now, under the bonnet, we have a turbocharged 1-litre 3-cylinder engine that produces 109 brake horsepower and 200 Newton meters of torque. And yes, those are fairly modest figures, but that's to be expected, right? This is a Cat A car, so 0 to 100 takes 10.6 seconds, which is, I would say, a leisurely pace, right? It's not overly quick. And, you know, it is a small capacity engine, so if you put your foot down, it takes a while for the revs to build and for you to pick up speed. So the way around this, if you really want to, is that you can either put the gearbox into S, which will then sort of hold a lower gear, or you can shift manually, right? So we have pedal shifters that you can, and you know, get in the right gear and it picks up pretty well, right? It's not super quick, but I think for most people in most circumstances, this is very usable day-to-day performance. This being a 3-cylinder engine, I must say I'm impressed by how smooth and refined it feels. So typically 3 cylinders, due to just the configuration of the engine, they tend to be a little bit on the unrefined side, a little bit noisy. Some people like the sound of that. This is very different. This is very quiet, feels very smooth, and honestly, most people probably wouldn't be able to tell that this is a 3-cylinder, right? It's just very, very smooth, right? It makes for a very relaxing experience. And I think that really matches very well with the way the car feels. So suspension is nice and smooth, the car is very comfortable and quite refined to drive, and you know, it handles reasonably. It's not perhaps the sharpest handling car in the world, but I think for most circumstances, this car will perform neatly to what you need it to do. So one thing to also know is that this is a mild hybrid system, so this has a 48-volt system, and what that helps with is with the engine start-stop, right? So when you come to a stop, the engine will cut out, cut in again, and you don't really feel it at all. And also one other benefit is that when you're coasting and given enough charge in a battery, the car can actually roll along with the engine completely shut off. Obviously that's not going to happen a lot of the time, but as and when that's possible, it can do that as well, and that again has the added benefit of fuel efficiency. So, the new A3 Sedan 1-litre. Is it a will buy, won't buy, or go try? To me, this is a will buy, and I don't think that's particularly surprising, right? So that's honestly why this car exists. Audi brought in this 1-litre model so that it will fall into Cat A, and therefore it will be cheaper. So this car is asking for 193, whereas your 1.5-litre model is asking for 219. So the difference is 26,000, right? And that's essentially, you're paying for the COE difference, because the difference between the Cat A and Cat B COE now is about 24,000. So again, if you're going to look at the spec sheet and the pricing, you realize that actually the OMV on this car and the 1.5 model is basically the same. And I think that really speaks to the level of equipment that you're getting with this car, right? It's very similar to the 1.5 model. And I think that's what I like about this particular car, is the fact that while it may ostensibly be the base model, you don't feel it, right? Sitting in it, you cannot really tell, from the outside, no one will really know that, oh, you're driving a Cat A car, right? And yes, 190,000, that's a big number, but every car is expensive nowadays with what COE is right now. And if you look across the market now, your equivalent or competitor premium 4-door sedans, you're really looking at your A-Class Saloon as well as your 216GC, right? And those are the other Cat A models. And this is a little bit cheaper than those. Those are, upside of $200,000. So I think there is value here, I think whether you're comparing this to the 1.5 or to some of its competitors as well, I think there is value in this car. So if you were shopping for an A3, whether a sedan or the Sportback model, I reckon this 1-litre model is the one to have. It's cheaper to buy, and because your road tax is lower and your fuel consumption is slightly lower as well, it will be cheaper to run as well. Alright, so that's our review of the A3 Sedan 1 litre. Do let us know what you think about this car in the comment section below, and also like and share this video as well. And please subscribe. So it's 22nd of August right now and we are at 29.2 thousand subscribers, so get us to 30. We want to get to 30, so please subscribe if you're not subscribed. And of course, also follow us on TikTok. We are at Sgcarmart. So that's all I have. I'll see you soon in the next video. Bye! You know, this is an A3 sedan, right? It looks like how an A3 sedan looks. So if you are looking to buy something like this A3, so that you'll find on the 1.5 model and even on the more expensive Audis as well. And it still looks very refined and kind of expensive. Cut that last line.